everyone, welcome back to our series of videos understanding CBET. Previously, in our other videos, we started looking at our third principle of CBET, and that is relevant learning activities and resources. We unpacked that component of learning. We developed a learning plan. Equally, we developed our session plan. And today, I want us to look at how best are we able now to implement the session plan. And we talked about including active learning strategies on how you're going to achieve your learning outcomes. And therefore, today, I want us to talk about active learning techniques. So, which techniques you should be using to support or rather to deliver a CBET session. But before you continue, I want to thank you all for supporting the channel. So let's continue supporting this channel through commenting, uh, liking the videos, sharing the videos, and of course, continue to subscribe. So let's talk about active learning techniques. And it's good to understand what are these techniques that you're talking about. So when you're talking about active learning, are instructional activities that involves learners in your class in doing something. And of course, when they do something, they need to reflect or think about what they're doing. So basically, that is what we call active learning. So you need to engage your learners so that they're able to perform tasks among themselves, of course, through you guiding the session. So basically, active learning to us as trainers, what does it really mean? So for trainers, active learning, it's intentional plan sequence of activities or learning events to help the learner achieve the desired learning outcomes. And that's what we did in our session plan. So based on our learning outcomes, we derived different activities or classroom activities to meet those learning outcomes or to achieve those learning outcomes. And therefore, these active learning strategies should be planned in a sequential manner. So they need to have a flow on how you're delivering your sessions. So you need to start from one, the way it is organized in your session plan. And we talked about session plan being a guiding tool for trainers. And therefore, for us, is about planned sequence of activities that we are going to use now to support the learners achieve their learning outcomes. And it's also good to understand that the active learning shifts the focus to knowledge, but again, more emphasis on skills and values. And how do we do this? You do by building upon prior knowledge. And I really talked about this when I say that CBET, delivering a CBET class or session, you should not assume that your learners don't know. So it's always good now to pretest that knowledge, of course, upon prior knowledge, and you can do this through guided tasks, collaboration, resources, and experiences. So we are coming from known to the unknown. So it's good to pretest the learner's prior knowledge about the topic that is being discussed. And we also talked about two different methodologies, the passive learning methods and of course the participatory learning methods. But it's good at this point to remind ourselves uh, where are we heading to and where did it came from. So we came from passive teaching methods, and we say that these are teaching methods that do not require learners to actively participate in their learning process. So the lecturing methods, use of videos. So at that point, could not engage your learners. But now focus is shifting from passive learning to participatory learning. And that means we need to involve the learners actively in the learning process. And we talked about the CON model. We need to incorporate different active learning strategies that we'll be talking about. So learning events helps the learners achieve their desired learning outcomes. And therefore, it's proper to choose your learning techniques or active learning techniques, looking at different consideration which we talked about. Should be engaging, should be appropriate for different levels of knowledge. You also said they need to be active and, of course, challenging. So learners understand and remember concepts by testing, exploring, and mentally manipulating them. And basically, those are the tasks that we need to instill in our sessions. And how do we reignite or ensure that learners uh, are able to recall or retain information about that session? And therefore, which techniques can you use to engage learners more so that they're able to explore, test, and mentally manipulate those tasks? So, just to remind ourselves about the CON model is you need to focus on active learning strategies that are able to bring about the learners able to have higher retention rates about the information, about the sessions. And therefore, we're coming from the passive methods of lectures, reading, audiovisuals, to now participatory teaching methods, where now you have to engage the learner actively through group discussions, through practicals, and of course, teaching others. So you can employ all this so that you're able to bring about increased retention of information, especially for that session. And of course, that comes with benefits of active learning. So one of those benefits is it increases learner satisfaction. And that means you need to provide opportunity for active learning so that you're able to increase and give student choices and autonomy. So when you use active learning strategies, you're going to increase learners' satisfaction. Number two is it's able to motivate learners in different ways. And this means that when you're talking about motivation, it is the force that compels these learners to put more effort and, of course, to overcome challenges of learning. Therefore, when you use active learning strategies, you're going to motivate these learners. And of course, number three, you're going to increase content knowledge, bring about critical thinking, and increase their retention rate. And I think you have looked at that. Number four, it improves interpersonal skills. So when you're using these active learning strategies, such skills like communication skills, collaboration skills, problem solving skills can be brought about by using active learning strategies in class. And these are usually achieved through different methodologies. So when you engage your learners, then you're able to bring that interpersonal skills. So you can able even to assess that. And you're going to talk about how do you assess life skills in class. And the only way to assess is you use active learning strategies. And of course, I don't want to reiterate the importance of life skills in workplace. And therefore, how do we able to measure life skills during our CBET sessions? Number five, when you use active learning strategies, you're able to better prepare these learners for workplace. And of course, through developing these interpersonal skills, they're going to be ready for the industry. And usually, these interpersonal skills are usually valued by employers. So it's going to help them be better prepared for workplace. And of course, and very important is when you use active learning strategies, it will increase learners' self-confidence. So when you give an opportunity for a learner to perform something, then it's going to increase their self-confidence. So basically, of course, there are more benefits of active learning strategies. So probably this will suffice for now. And the goal, it's good to understand that it's only through engaging these learners with materials or tasks can most learners experience learning that lasts. So that's the beauty of using active learning strategies. So it's going to make them even more experienced when you subject them to different tasks, perform tasks in our CBET sessions. And that will bring about participation that requires a wide variety of techniques. So if you use different learning active strategies, you're going to bring about learner participation. And that's what really is required for our CBET session. Probably you need to ask yourself or even reflect for the sessions that you have done. Are they learners, are your learners engaged? You really need to look at and answer that question. And when talking about learner engagement, really what are we talking about? So it's the degree of attention, curiosity, interest, optimism, and passion that learners show when they are learning or they are being taught. Then I'll pose that question again. Have you ever assessed or have you ever reflected on your sessions? Did your session bring about learners' curiosity? Were they so much interested with your content? So if your answers are no for this, then probably your learners were not engaged during that session. And of course, that's how will you know your learners engaged? So what are the characteristics of learner engagement? One is you'll find that they are active in their learning. So when you engage your learners, you'll find they are very active in terms of answering questions, giving their input, showing interest. So they become active. And that's one sign that your learners are engaged. Number two is they're eager to participate. If you pose a question, everyone wants to speak. And that shows they have interest. So probably you also want to look at if your sessions, your participants or your learners are eager to participate. Another one is they are willing to expand effort, meaning they're able to go an extra mile in terms of solving challenges that you have given them. That extra mile really means a lot to these learners, and therefore it poses as one of the characteristics of learner engagement. Motivation. How do you know that your students are motivated? Of course, through all these active learning engagement. So they become motivated in different ways. they become inspired, and of course, it boosts or increases or it enhances concentration. And therefore, you need to assess all these characteristics to understand that your learners are engaged or not. So how do we create this engagement? One, you need to create a safe, welcoming learning environment. So you need to bring that welcoming uh, environment to the learners. So they need to feel you're part of this learning. So you need to create that environment. Two, you need to create a culture of empathy, respect, approachability, and authenticity. So that's how you bring learners engagement. So you need to be authentic as a trainer. You need to make yourself approachable by these learners. And of course, you need to have empathy. You need to be in their shoes as learners. And of course, respect. You need to respect. Respect is a two-way. You respect your learners, they'll respect your content, and of course, you as a person. Therefore, we need to create this type of environment in our sessions. Mm. Another one is you need to collaborate with your learners during learning. Make them be part of your learning. And remember, I said that CBET is about the individual learner with different learner variabilities. Then you need to focus on each learner. Of course, they have different challenges, different dynamics, and of course, they have different preferences and learning styles, and therefore need to collaborate them during learning. Another aspect of creating that learner engagement is collaborate on developing learning objectives. And of course, that's our aim. And we talked about how do we develop learning outcomes. So you need to involve them to develop these learning outcomes during instructional planning or your session planning. So you really need to think about your learners actively when you're preparing all these tools. And the last one is you need to ensure that there's relevance of all learning activities. And we talked about your choice of your active learning strategy. They need to be relevant. And that's what principle number 3 about relevance, learning, activities, and resources. So they need to be relevant, and you need to ensure that for that particular knowledge and that particular level. So basically, you need to create and collaborate with your students during your CBET sessions. And of course, these are some of the common types of active learning techniques that you can use. One is you can initiate discussion in class, which can take different forms. You can use case studies. These bring about critical thinking. You can do reflective activities. Remember, we talked about 1 minute reflective paper. So you can tell them to reflect on that topic, projects, role plays. You can initiate all that. Again, you can initiate group activities, could be small or large. So there are different techniques that you can use as part of the group activities. Um, you can as well incorporate games and of course initiate debates. So if you look at all these active learning techniques, it is the learner who is going to actually benefit more because they're the people who are going to discuss, provide the critical thinking when it comes to case studies, reflect, they'll do the role plays, discuss in groups, and of course, debates. And of course, there are many other active learning techniques. So I've shared a link one of the documents from Young African Works through collaboration with MasterCard and SICAN. So you can look at all those strategies and see how you're able to incorporate them in your sessions. And the last bit is I always give tips for each unit that we discuss. And today I want to give you a tip for implementing active learning in your class. So one is always start with clear learning outcomes. It's very, very important. Always start with clear learning outcomes. And we should be able to refer to this every time you are in your session. Two, you need to choose appropriate active learning techniques. Not all learning techniques can work in a session. So you really need to think, critically think, and plan ahead. So choose your active learning techniques appropriately. And we talked about that. Uh, Provide learners with clear instructions. It is very important you do that during your sessions. If it is group work, please give proper instruction to get the desired learning outcome. Another tip is circulate around the class to monitor progress. When you give an activity to the learners, you need to monitor progress. Very, very key. And that's the best time also to monitor life skills, especially communication, working in a team, and see how they're able to solve challenges or problems. So always don't just stick in one area, move around the class so that you're able to monitor progress. And the last bit is always wrap your session with discussions or reflections. So there are different techniques you can use for discussion or reflection. So more tips, of course, you need to prepare carefully. Preparation is key. You need to plan, see how those activities are going to unfold during the session. So you really need to think about it. Sit down, see if all those activities are going to flow in your class. So you need to prepare and prepare adequately. Of course, you need to provide feedback. You need to provide feedback in every session and always be flexible. Nothing is cast on stone. So try to be flexible during your sessions. So today we have looked at active learning techniques and we have looked at how you're able to engage your learners, and you're also able to look at the benefits of using learning active techniques in class. So for more techniques, please check the link below. You'll be able to look at all those techniques that are appropriate for your class. So again, I want to thank you for subscribing. Please share these videos. Let's like them. Let's comment. So in the next video, we'll be looking at how you're able now to provide feedback and assessments. This is the key. CBET is about how you're able to assess learning outcomes. Thank you.